Peace, love, gratitude. What's going on, man? It's STLNDRMS. Once again, another week, another session. We are Sidechain. This week, we're taking an opportunity to talk about space. Space is the place. So the idea here is to have somewhat of an intelligent conversation about this concept, to look at it from a few different perspectives, using a few different examples. Compositionally, a melodic perspective, and then to talk about it also as far as mixing is concerned. All right, so let's talk about this thing, top to bottom, left to right. You know what we do. So because I have the drum so far up front, and because all the other elements are very percussive, you don't really hear a lot of things moving around, right? There's not a lot of these like longer melodic elements. So it gives me the ability to turn everything up loud. Now I'm doing a James Brown thing. Everything's a drum, right? Space. Space. Even the drums are simple. Attention to it. That's the reason I'm trying to create this room around it, and so that whatever I put in the middle, the voice, the lead, conversation, whatever, you know what I'm saying, there's room for it. Fucking here's everything I got, and then we're gonna start removing elements to give you more room to breathe. Listen to the juxtaposition between like the beginning of this, when there's this LFO and everything's going to like when everything just hits at the same time. This is giving you the room for this experience to happen, and now I'm creating a box. And now the madness ensues. You feel me? Like, and now you appreciate the space that you had because you don't have it anymore, and you're being assaulted. Notice the drums are very sparse in this situation, and they're this way because there's so much other stuff happening that there's not really room for much in the way of drums. You feel what I'm saying? Room to breathe. In this context, almost in the inverse sense, right, where we're bringing in everything and there is none, there's no space. So that way, when you hear that LFO after that, you realize that you have some. Basically, what I did in this situation is I had a sample and I chopped the sample. But when I say chop, I don't mean it in a traditional sense. I took the sample and I filtered out part of it. Ableton has this really cool filter system where you can like filter out vowel sounds. Well, there's this kind of interplay now between the drums and the bass and this piece of sample, and they're all kind of moving around, coming in and out. I'm about to bring it back. Here we go. Listen. The whole thing. And this is like something I learned very early on, that like if my bass is going to hit in the same frequency range as my kick, then I should make them alternate. But the kick can start the bass. Boom. No, this is one of those type of situations where there's white space and you want to like, I want to like kind of paint the whole canvas a certain color, a certain hue. But then there's certain elements I want to really bring out. There's an outline that I want to make really striking and hard. And then there's like certain shading techniques that I'm using, if you will, to kind of give shape to the whole thing, right? I love that. There's something about like samples with those voices in them, man, when you just let them do what they need to do, and then, man, this gives you room for interpretation and breathing. You know what I mean? If I'm doing all this crazy stuff on a record, you ain't got no time to think about your shit. You know what I mean? You're too busy looking at me. It's not about me. It's about you. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom. Like, I need that personally. I need something to hold on to. And that gives me a bit of an anchor to kind of do that. Otherwise, you kind of get lost in space with it. You don't really have an opportunity to come back to that thing. That snare, like, you know what I'm saying? What? When that bass comes in, boom, listen to the bass. Boom, boom, space. Boom, 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 space. Boom, boom, space. I'm not doing too much, you feel me? And then the keys. The whole thing just turned blue. The whole fucking canvas just turned blue. Then these like little raindrops just drop in. Just not too much, just enough. Just enough to let you know you're here. It's a real place. You can see that things happening within the space, and having an opportunity to listen to the music conversations that we're having, dude, because we're like nerds and we're having full nerd convos about concepts like these. This is where most of the video ideas come from. So anyway, I just want to put that out there. It's my 2 cents on the value of the Zoom sessions. In one of those sessions, Critical plays a piece, and he's really excited about this piece of percussion, or multiple pieces of percussion, but he has a challenge. And the challenge is, even though he had this really dope percussion elements to his record, he can't find space within the mix to show them to you. And it's frustrating. And he's like, man, I really can't wait to see the video about space, because hopefully you'll say something in this video that'll help me out in being able to show people these elements, because I think they need to hear this stuff. I said, cool. Didn't have an answer in the moment. But now, after this whole thing that we've done, I think I have one. And the answer to me is to find moments when it makes sense and cut everything else off. I established the fact that the snare hit hard and had a certain reverb on it, and it was really, like you need this snare in your life, very early on in this beat. And I think because I did that, you remember it. And then when I open up the mix from time to time, just for a second to let it hit again, you get reminded like, oh yeah, that snare is hard. Stay safe. Wear your damn mask. Wash your hands. Feel me? Peace.